The first step in post-production is what? Assembling. If your project files are wrongly assembled, you have problem. We can't tell a complete story if files are missing, if audio is missing, if picture is missing. We can only tell a complete story if everything we shot is present and correctly arranged. There's what we call the theory of editing. There's what we call the art of editing. A-R-T, art. And there's what we call the A-C-T, art of editing. There are different softwares when it comes to editing. You will see them in the class. There are different software. Editing is not cut and join. Editing is what? Storytelling. And the best directors as of today are those who have grew from post-production to become directors. Because it is at the stage of editing that you see the mistake that everybody has made. There are 4 stages in production. Pre-production. The second is what? Production. The third is what? Post-production. The fourth is what? Marketing and distribution. So you see the number of steps that were available before post-production. So we've done pre-production, we've done production, then we now come to what? Post-production. Pre-production is that first stage where we do what we call planning. Production is execution. Post-production is what? Finalization. Marketing and distribution is simply what? Sell. So we are going into post-production. There are different steps in post-production. We have first assistant, second assistant, third assistant, as much as law, law. Before you call yourself an editor, you must first be an assistant editor. The scale of the budget of the production, that determines the number of people that you will need when it comes to what? Editing. I started with funeral video. How many of you know funeral video? Why are you laughing? There's money there now. They will pay you your money before the end of the event. So that's what I started with. After funeral video, I entered where? Naming ceremony. You people are, when somebody die, another person must come in. So it's the beginning from the end to the beginning. So after naming ceremony, what was next? Clap for yourself. So after naming ceremony, so it was wedding, and I stayed at the wedding for a long time. Now I got to a point, I said, this wedding, I was just so angry. You know why I was angry? They will not call you after you finish editing the wedding video and tell you that they did not see their mommy's head inside the video. They did not see their uncle's boyfriend's leg inside. I'm like, I don't understand. I only met you and your husband. How am I supposed to know the entire family members? So the wala was just too much. And it was like I was disappointing them at every point. Because they would say that their mommy was dancing. And it was at the part where she wanted to greet their uncle's best friend that I caught the video. How was I supposed to? And the only reason why I was doing that back then was because, you know, our normal formula is that when you get to the event, you shoot everything, Abi? And then when you get back, just put intro and outro. But somebody had corrected me and told me that was not the way to do it. That why was I paying you to edit the video if all you're going to do is just to put intro and outro? You are supposed to tell what? A story. And that's the basis of editing. You are not an editor if all you do is just to look for the mistake and remove it. You are basically just arranging it. You are on the first step in the journey of becoming an what? Editor. The first thing that we do in editing is called what? Assembling. If your project files are wrongly assembled, you have problem. Which is why on any film or production set, there are some people we call the what? DIT. They are called wranglers also. Those people are the life of every post-production process. If you like, spend 50 million on this project. All your 50 million is going to end where? Inside this drive. Because the life of that project, whether it is going to be successful or not, is dependent on how well arranged those files are. So the number one important person for the success of a good post-production is what? Your DIT. That is one place that you can even enter the industry from. DIT or wrangler. That is one place that you can easily enter this industry called Nollywood or anything that you call it, because we have shortage of people that can document accurately. I'm saying that can label and arrange footage accurately, so that once we carry it, this person says I've arranged it. Once you carry this thing and you go and give an editor, there will not be any problem. That's why assembling is the first stage. What then do they do? It says the data wranglers back up files on the location tool. That might sound straightforward enough, but they have to keep what? Because if they don't do it correctly, all the work that has been done to capture the action could be what? The reason why most of our Nollywood film does not complete, they are the one that caused it. Because when you now get to post-production to start editing, you now be looking for one scene. The scene don't miss. This is a good place. I'm telling you, as in this is a good place right now. If you go to any post-production house, no matter how big they are, and you want to quickly enter and maneuver, don't go and be asking to be director. Don't go and be asking to edit. Don't go and be asking for graphics. Tell them that you are what? DIT. I'm telling you, they will give you job immediately. No matter what they do. If they do documentary, they do film, they do TV. Just tell them that, Oga, I know they do anything. I can tell you that if I DIT for you, if I handle it for you, you will not allow me to go. I can categorically tell you right now, and you will get job. And you start earning money. This is not Nigerian site. This is Hollywood. If you no get patient, no go. Because sometimes you are basically copying one file, and it can take you 24 hours. And your eye must be there like this. They look out. You must not shake. The two things that are going to be your friend, hard drive, memory card, those are your friend, and your laptop that you're going to use. Assembling it and arranging it is the key. So when people are coming and you are bringing card, they want to, because if you are like me, I handle multi-camera productions. Sometimes I use like 15 cameras, 20 cameras, 10 cameras to shoot. Do you understand? I am not interested so much in me trying to remember what each camera is shooting. It has already been labeled. That's why we're also going to show you those camera angles and all those things so you understand it. Cameras are labeled either according to what they are shooting, which is the angles they are capturing, because it is the mixing of those angles that you use to do what? To tell the story. That's why I tell people, if you are just starting out, don't start out with just one camera. That's why partnership is interested. You have an event, they tell you what the event is. Shebina like me, you go just stand one place, they talk. Just put one camera there. It's called the law of action and what? Reaction. As they talk, people they laugh, people they write, people they take notes, people they look. Some people they are looking at girlfriend and boyfriend. You understand? Everybody is doing whatever it is that they want to do. If the corresponding reaction to my action is not in that video, then you will query it. For example, right here now we are shooting with how many cameras? 2 cameras. Now in production, the 2 cameras will be what? Labeled. So we can call this camera A, and you can call this camera what? B. So which means for a multi-camera shoot, you need someone to do what? To document it. So when you now go into your file, which is the mistake that you make, the person will just copy the file from this camera and just dump it somewhere on the hard drive. Copy sound, dump it somewhere on the hard drive. Copy this one, you are just dumping it everywhere. That is already failure. The first thing you must do is to do what? Organize your footage. Create a folder. It's like book. You must see editing like as if you want to do what? Read a book or write a book. You create a folder. The title of the folder will be the title of the what? Project. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what is the title of this program? American Corner, free editing, 2 weeks. You write it. That is the cover of the what? Project. Inside that, you open another what? Folder. Storytelling is beyond just cut and join. You are cutting, you are joining, but you are cutting and joining towards what? Towards an end. And what is that end? The story that you have curated in your mind. Everything can be what? Storylized. If there's anything like that. Whether it is burial, whether it is wedding, whether it is, let me say, everything is a story to it. We want to tell the story of this thing. What's the beginning? What will you do? What? Arrival. And when we finish arrival, what will you do next? Registration. After that, what will you do next? Setting up. After setting up, what will you do next? Stories is divided into 3. There's always a beginning, there's always a midpoint, and there's always an ending. That's the way you should go out and shoot from today. Anything you want to shoot, even if they bring it to you to come and help them to edit it, tell them it is not what? Complete. I used to turn down job. Even before I became, at least on the level that I am now. Back then, I can't say we are big, we are just going towards bigness. So because you can't give me one camera and say it's problem. Because when the person now shake the camera, what will I use to hide the shake? You know they. So it is the content that determines the number of camera that you require. So once they give you the brief and say this is what you are going to shoot, then you now begin to ask yourself in your mind, based on your own analogy, how many cameras will I use to tell an effective story of what? Of this project. I started doing this even when they were paying me 50K to shoot an entire 15 minutes documentary. And I would travel for 3 days, 4 days. The only reason why they gave me documentary was because when they saw my other project of wedding, this thing, they saw that to an extent there was storytelling. It wasn't just point and shoot and all these new things that you people are talking about these days in the industry. That if you don't have one camera, you cannot shoot. You are just being lazy. You are just being lazy. Because if you understand the concept of storytelling, you can shoot with anything. Anything. Revenant. About 4 or 5 scenes were shot with iPhone 7s. One of my documentary, we went there. We don't know say code day. As we finish shooting, camera don't block. And we have to come back the next day. Say we will wait. We carry iPhone. SS mass. We join them. Shoot the thing. Came back home. Put everything together. Client no say it is different. I've shot with iPhone. I've shot with Samsung. And I've added the footage to big cameras. Blackmagic, Red, everything, Sony. I've added them together. So it's not the camera. So stop deceiving yourself. And say you are waiting for the big camera. You are waiting for the big camera. It will never come. So don't let anything limit you. It is the principle behind it that you should understand. Once DIT has messed up, everybody now goes to the editor and begin to do what? Shout at the editor. As if he was there when people were actually doing the shoot. So that was when this whole ideology of editors coming on sets started coming up. Before, script writers, editors, they know they show for production. When you are shooting, you don't expect them to be there because the work truly does not concern them. So during production, what we're just doing was capturing the movements, capturing the dialogue, capturing everything. Every other thing is supposed to be done after. But when they found out that when you get there after, because imagine the director who is thinking of the creative angle, thinking of how to ensure that dialogue is good, thinking of everything, and you're telling him to still be thinking that somebody somewhere who is supposed to copy the card might fumble. I'm a member of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. So I know a few number of people are still struggling with it now. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether it is east, north, west, anywhere you are, go to any top production house that you have and tell them that you want to start as a what? Data wrangler. I'm telling you, they will open the door wide. Because they will ask you, how do you even know that we need it? And the skill to being a good data wrangler is the future of what? Editing. As a wrangler, what are you supposed to do? Number one, collect all the technical information. Director will give you what we call the circle takes. Because sometimes they have like 1,000,001 takes of a particular scene. But on set there, the director can tell you that maybe it was take 3 that he loved the most. Because we don't delete footage while recording. That is not good right now. Does not mean that it might not be good when we are editing. Because sometimes you tired face and tired brain. For every single element you will need, you must create a folder for all of them. This is the way you should have. So if it is burial video, and you know you are shooting with 2 cameras, so you label it with the name of the Tolu and Kinekon, 16th of January. That's the folder. Open the folder, then open the camera 1, camera 2. If you have graphics element, put the graphics in the folder. If you have the sound recorded separately, put the sound separately. Under camera, don't still come and just drag and dump. Open another folder again. Say camera 1 or establishment camera, ECU or X-tab. Camera folder 2, close-up camera, CU. Folder 3, MCU. Folder 4, that's if you are shooting film. If you're not shooting film, you can label them if it's event. Say camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. Label them. So that when they bring the card to you, you are asking the person, which camera is this? And it tells you the camera is from what? Say MCU. Or the camera is from what? Camera 2 or camera 3. Once you do that, you have saved yourself a lot of wahala. In film, it might be a little bit technical than this. You label it first as day 1 because they will have given you the film schedule. Do you understand? So, as the data wrangler for that shoot, the first folder after you have created the folder in the name of the project is because it's going to be counted in days. Let's make our own film. I Love Seyi. That's the name of the first folder. So inside I Love Seyi, the director or the producer have told you we are going to shoot for how many weeks? 2 weeks. You know, the past 2 weeks, our film, you know, don't worry, we don't have money. So it's 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, that's how many days? 14. So open folder from day 1 to what? Day 14. So inside day 1 folder, if it is a 2-camera shoot, it is a 3-camera shoot, it is 4-camera shoot, you now do what? You arrange it based on the what? The different scene, cameras and the position. So you have MCU, you have CU inside day 1, right? Then you now do what we call scene selection. Because they will be shooting what? Scene by scene. So you ask them, what scene are you shooting today? Scene 42. Okay. So you label that camera inside that CU. So let's say, for example, it's the establishment shot they shot, right? And the establishment shot, there's a CU of it. So you copy the footage of establishment shot into establishment shot. The footage of the establishment that there's a CU, you copy it into what CU. But inside it, you will label that file. You know how to change the name. The name of the thing is supposed to be like maybe MGR or something. You now label that one as what? Scene 002. Once you have done that, they will now hire what we call the first assistant editor. What the work of the first assistant editor is supposed to be that what you have arranged and the script. The first assistant editor will take the script, take what you have arranged, put it on the timeline with sound. So the dialogue we've recorded. So the scene 1 says, and Olu will kiss Bolu and she will say this. So we look for that scene. That scene. If they shot it 3 times, if we arrange it 3 times on the timeline, nothing is done. He's not cutting. He or she is not supposed to cut. He's not supposed to do anything. Just lay it from beginning to the end. If it takes you 20 days to lay it, fine. The editor and the director, after the first assistant has done it, they will now do what? Come and sit down to now start what? Editing. So sometimes the editor can be given the free hand to say, okay, do whatever you want to do. Then the director will come and watch it and say, oh, why not do it this way, do it this way. But most times, at that stage in post-production, the people that go to post-production are the director, the editors. Sometimes you don't even see the producer. The time she will come back is when the film is ready to either be premiered or be distributed. So the entire process of making the film into what it's supposed to be is between the director and the what? Editor. Then the professional, which we call the supervising editor, curates the story based on the what? Available scripts. Because also sometimes while we are shooting, script change. So if your DIT does not understand it, what happens is, because the basics for the editing is the script, and your continuity person did not write it inside it, the director had rearranged it and changed this thing, the editor will do what? Become stuck. You see why it is teamwork. You see why it's not the work of one person. You see why the DIT is very important. Because you are the life of the editor. You are the life of that project. And many projects did not see the light of the day because they did not find the files. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that we don't have those issues is the reason why we are also taking the pain upon ourselves to organize this kind of training. So people will understand that is the place to enter from. Don't start from director. I tell you, when I met Kide Klani, what he told me, he said, the world will forgive you of any technical error once they can relate to the word story. Never lose the essence of the story. The story is key. The story is important. I'm hammering on data wrangling because I know that some of you here are saying you are looking for a job. That is the job. All you need to learn is online. There are billions and one video on data wrangling, on how to be a better data wrangler, on how to be a good DIT. There are videos there. And just sit down and consume them. Because that is the process to the beginning of what? Editing. From data wrangling, you can now move from there to become what? First assistant editor. Second assistant editor. If, for example, if the person that is supposed to be there, who is supposed to edit, is still not okay with what that first assistant editor has done in terms of the job, they bring in the what? The second assistant editor. That one gets more brain past the first assistant editor. But in Nigeria, not be so. In Nigeria, now the editor, they do everything. So once you say you want to be an editor, you are the one that will do what? You are doing everything. You are going to, if possible, like I told you, rearrange all the files that has been wrongly what? Digitized by the DIT person. Once you are able to achieve that arrangement I showed you in folders, it's very simple. Just see, that as I'm opening folder, that's just be opening folder in every switch. In sound, you go there, you open folder. There's what we call sound effect. There's what we call what? Music. At least you've watched movies. You see that the movie that started, don't be the movie they end up. But here in Nigeria, now they start, they finish. Now go finish them. Now it's not our fault. There's no budget. Normally, the music is supposed to be what? Different. Because the moods is what dictates the sound. The song you listen to when you are happy is different from the song you listen to when you are what? Do you understand? So that's the way it is designed. Sound design is another department on its own that people can also go into now. Because what we do most times is there is what we call library online. Because we have music library. So whatever the music library has is what we use. And we just download it. Because every movie has its own genre. And the genre determines the sound that you put. That's why you will look at romantic comedy and you'll be hearing transformer sound inside. So what is a data wrangler good at? Attention to details. They label the file accurately. They wrangle data without loss. If there's any corruption or anything, which means sometimes your card can develop faults because in our own territory we have China and original. So if they bought the China, it simply means that sometimes when you are working, you will not see your file. So they do digital cameras and computer. They understand cameras, file formats, and storage media. Problem solving. They are able to fix kits, tech, and cable connection. They stay calm under pressure, work methodically with high stress environment, and speak up when things don't go what? As planned. In TV production, they understand how TV production works, the roles within it, and the production process. Who does a data wrangler work with? I've told you. Data wranglers work with what? Camera operators and directors of what? Photography. They also communicate with the teams in post-production and with the production coordinator, who therefore created a log for the production team back in the office. In some instances, they work directly for the digital imaging technician, the DIT. That's the meaning of DIT. Digital image what? Technician. Although many productions don't have that role because of what? Money. How do you become a data wrangler? I've mentioned that already. It's basically having that ability to stay true and say, no matter what, I will see it through. Because information, arranging, assembling, the reason why I'm staying so long on it is because that is the basis of what? editing. We can't tell a complete story if files are missing, if audio is missing, if picture is missing. We can't tell a what? A completing story. We can only tell a completing story if everything we shot is present and correctly arranged.